All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another live session. Today is November 2nd, 2020. The YouTube stream is on as well. So, and I can't understate this, a very chaotic week is coming ahead of us. Even this morning, if you were in the markets, you'd have known some movement, and that's because of the manufacturing data that came out fabulous. So obviously the elephant in the room for traders, Forex, crypto, stocks, options all over the world is tomorrow's election. And so I think this week and more importantly today's session will be focused on those results. So we're going to go over a really nice article written by Daily Effects about the election and what we traders should watch out for. And so I'll link it after the session, but here it is. So, three states traders should watch plus places that provide surprises. And so the very first one is Florida. We know it's a potential swing state, but it always leans red, which means Republican. But they count votes early and will likely trigger the initial response. Okay, so we have to watch out for that. North Carolina is also important for a stimulus package. So if you're trading things like options or indices, that's going to be important. And then Pennsylvania. So we're going to go over the scenarios. They did a really good job on this, and we'll just go through it right now. So obviously, a lot of people got their vote in very early. As you guys may know, Democrats usually do the mail-in voting. Republicans like to vote on election day. So my kind of prediction is that in the beginning stages, it may look like a Biden landslide. But I think once they start counting all the other votes from people that voted in on the day of, the race will appear tighter. Okay, so I know on Tuesday they'll start at around I think 8:30. They'll start reporting the results. So 8:30 Eastern, they'll start basically letting everyone know the initial results. But that's not the final result, so don't jump on the gun. So if it shows Biden in the lead, don't think Biden's going to win. If Trump's in the lead, don't think Trump's in the lead. I know both camps are going to claim victory, but until everything is counted, it's just all theatrics to amp up their base, right? So Florida, we know it's a swing state, and usually it stays red, but this time around, with all that happened, it can swing. If you look at it right now, they're very quick at counting, so they might be the very first to let us know. If you look at this, around 2:30 Eastern, so 8:30, around 20:30 Eastern, so that's 8:30 Eastern on Tuesday, officials are set to begin releasing results, including early and mail-in ballots. So Trump won Florida by a margin of 1.2% last time. A win for Biden in Florida would signal a clear path to presidency. So if if Biden has the lock on Florida, you can pretty much assume with good probability that he's going to win it all. Florida is a huge state for Trump, and if he loses that, then the gig's over. Okay, so around 8:30 Eastern, make sure you're watching your news. You have it in a one monitor, and you're just paying attention to it because that's going to be an important state to watch out for. You can see here Florida has a higher chances of Democrats flipping the Senate and passing a generous stimulus package. It's good. It's good for gold, stocks up to a point, and bad for the dollar. Okay, so if a stimulus package is passed, it'll be good for the gold. We understand why, because we'll have a weaker dollar, and obviously stocks will go up a bit, but it'll be bad for the dollar overall. So currently they show Trump just down by a tick. Biden's up by 1.2%. But this is very close. It could swing any other way. If you recall the 2016 election, the day before the election, Hillary had a 93% chance of winning, and Trump had a 9% chance of winning. We all knew what happened. A lot of Republicans don't like doing polls, or if telemarketers call, they'll just troll and say they're voting Democrat. I don't know. They like doing that stuff. So I never really pay attention to these. It's all about the polling, and it's not just about the popular vote. It's about the electoral college, right? So it doesn't matter if Biden or Trump gets 300K votes. Whoever gets the electoral college is going to win. And so that's why these states, Florida, and we'll talk about North Carolina, is very important. So North Carolina, is a purple state, so it's mixed. If you look at it, this is the best shot for them to take it. So if Republicans can take this, North Carolina, that'll be really good news. So Biden has a minor lead in 2020. Trump had it in 2016. So if Biden can take North Carolina, then the odds just favor him even more. If Trump can hold on to North Carolina, then you can start looking at things like Texas and stuff like Nevada and all those other places. So if you look at it right now, the Democrats are looking to be favored to win that Senate. And then if you look at this, this is a good point right here. For markets, a victory for Tillis would be worse scenario than a win for President Trump, leading to falls in stocks, gold, and a move higher in the dollar. So this point's important. So theoretically, if Tom Tillis wins, then that'll be worse for the markets than President Trump winning the entire election. It will lead to falls in stocks, gold, and a higher dollar. So this scenario would favor the dollar strength. And then we have Pennsylvania. So he won it by less than 1% in 2016. It turns out that if Trump loses these states but wins Florida and the rest of the map remains unchanged, the race goes down to Pennsylvania. So let's say if Trump loses much of the states but wins Florida, and wins Texas and those kind of states, and everything else remains the same, Pennsylvania is the one to watch out for. Okay, so this is going to be important. They are talking about a possible blue shift where it could favor the Democrats. But however, if Trump clearly wins Pennsylvania and is reelected without a constitutional crisis, he could push the GOP to approve a medium-sized stimulus bill that would be satisfactory to the markets. So we're looking for a medium-sized bill. Basically, if the Democrats win, they're going to push a huge bill, and that'll cause a weaker dollar. If the Republicans win, you can look for bullishness in the dollar and bearish in gold and bearish in the stocks. Okay, and then we have the rest of these states where you can plot out the electoral map. Kentucky, Alaska, Utah, all those places. The very last point is important. Trump lost Nevada by only 2% in 2016. He is gaining some Hispanic votes, and you can see the first candidate of Arizona, where Hillary Clinton lost by 5%. Coronavirus hit the state hard in the summer, and the other Senate seat went to the Democrats. So he has a high chance of losing Arizona. Again, it's a toss-up. It's a very tight election. If you look at the polls, they show Biden by a landslide, but again, they usually oversample Democrats, and Republicans don't do those type of polls. I don't know why, but so it's going to be a tighter vote than a lot of people expected. So we'll see. Hopefully, we know sooner rather than later, because a lot of these votes still have to be counted. So that's why early voting is a factor for favoring Democrats. In the past, Dems voted early, but Republicans balanced the picture on election day. Remember, that's the important thing. So Democrats always vote early. Republicans come out on election day. Their answer is that high turnout means people want change, and that could result in a shock win for Biden in Texas. At the moment, Trump is leading the large state by 2.3%, and he's leading Texas by a decent margin, below the margin of error, and the polls could be overestimating him in 2020 as they underestimated him in 2016. So again, Texas is pretty close. Trump does have the slight lead, but it's within the margin of error. So conclusion is Florida may give an early victory for Biden. Pennsylvania might give Trump 4 more years or a triggered contention. North Carolina is the most critical state for Senate. However, there's room for surprises and for elections to drag. So this is going to be absolute comedy tomorrow, because both sides are going to claim victories or claim voter fraud, whatever the case may be. So that's what I'm saying. With all the possibilities, it's very unideal trading conditions, to put it simply. I've already see a few traders just simply sitting it out, just because not only do we have this on Wednesday, we have on Friday we have NFP. So if you were looking for a week to kind of sit on your hands, this is the week. Just watch the kind of the movie unfold in front of you, but not really partake. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll do analysis, but we won't really enter the trades. Again, this is really risky stuff, And the last thing we want is slippage to, you know, blow accounts or whatever that case may be. So if you look at Forex Factory, this morning the ISM manufacturing data came out very nice, 59.3 versus the 55.6 forecast. That's fabulous for the dollar. Later we have the Aussie cash rate and RBA statement. Today's a Japanese bank holiday. And then tomorrow all day we'll have the election, but results will start coming in at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Let me crack open this Coke. And then later we have New Zealand dollar unemployment change. So we have back-to-back high intensity events. And then from this point onwards to midnight, it's going to be all election results, ballot counting. So even tomorrow is a pretty rough day. Pretty much the morning's quiet, but even in the morning you might hear a few details or leaks. But from 5 p.m. to midnight, it's going to be chaotic. So we really have small windows to trade, which I don't think it's practical. And then Wednesday, we have the ADP unemployment change right here, forecasted to be a decrease in jobs, so take note of that. And then we have services PMI looking to be a bit below the previous month result. Then Thursday, the news just keeps piling on. So Thursday we have the pound monetary policy. Obviously, going to keep the rate the same, but despite that, it will still cause an effect in the markets. Then we have unemployment claims for the USD. I think by Thursday we'll have a good idea of who won the election. Even though results will be counted in even for a week forward, by Thursday we'll have a good chance. We'll have a good idea of who won. There may be a couple more votes that might tilt the scale, but if it's not close, we'll know by then. So that's that. And then we have the FOMC statement where Powell is going to be talking. And so you can see every day there's at least one major event. It's going to be chaotic in the markets. I would love to just get the popcorn out and just watch it. And then Friday, obviously, we have CAD unemployment and then the NFP itself. Unemployment's set to dip a bit. That's pretty good. 7.6 is not bad. And then the jobs number, if you look at the jobs number, we have 600K jobs added versus last month, 660. So mixed results for the NFP, but I don't think the markets really care about NFP right now. Right now, it's all about the election. So let's head over to the dollar index. And last week, we pretty much nailed our dollar index prediction. The execution was kind of off, and that's why certain trades didn't go our way, but it's fine. This is the week where we can just enjoy it, right? So we had the prediction going to 93.89, and that was secured. And then on Friday, we said price will pull back to here, which it did, and then go up to here, which it did. And that's great. If you look at the 4-hour, it's very clean price action. So I just want this election to pass. I don't care who wins, but once it passes, we'll have maybe some consistency in the markets again. So here was Friday. Here we had the pullback down to here and the launch up to this blue resistance / support zone. Okay, so now what I'm looking forward to is, if you look at price, it made a high earlier in the day at 94.285. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to remove some of these older levels now that were not needed. So here it is. So 94.28. That's the high we made so far this week. And so honestly, I'd want price to break that high, and then we can confirm our original long-term target of 94.75. Okay, we do have kind of this move from here to here to kind of fulfill, but we do need price action to clear this high. Right now, price looks like it's going to dip a bit, especially with this shooting star printed, so just be cautious of that. We may have a pullback. This might actually only be the pullback and ready to go up higher. I would love confirmation by breaking above 94.279, 94.28. Okay, so I'm still bullish on the dollar index. but it's so fundamentally driven this week that it's really hard to give anything concise, because everything I can say right now can go out the window tomorrow during the election. But based on technicals, we do see that eventual push up here. I think regardless of who wins, we'll eventually get here by the end of 2020, if not by the end of the month, and that should put pressure on Euro USD, Pound Dollar, Gold, US oil, etc. So we'll go over some pairs now. I'll turn off the free portion of the stream. But this was a pretty good analysis of the election and what traders should look for. And now we'll just talk about some specific setups, although I doubt we'll be that active in the markets, if at all.